still coming through. There are quite a few of them. Each guide that's come through has a different color. So they're taking me to one and then another and then another. So the first one they're taking me to, okay, so then they're taking me, slow down. So let's go one first. Okay. So they're taking me to the no violet energy. Now the violet energy is the Lyran energy. I'm being shown priestess. So there was a priestesshood in the Lyran era that you were in, and you were part of that priestesshood. I'm getting that I'm going to be shown these because you've asked a specific question, and that's about relationships. I'm going to be shown those lifetimes or specific points in what we would call time, but it's not really time, but specific points in place that will help you to understand relationships of yours. So this one here is a priestess. Priestess has many admirers, doesn't have like one-on-one boyfriend relationships. You were married to the priestesshood and had many friends, very close friends, did a lot of what you're doing now, holding space work. It wasn't healing work, it was holding space work, because people looked up to the priestesses. They looked for them for guidance. They looked to them for understanding of what was going on in their lives. And there were around 8. There were 8 priestesses at the time that you were there. There was no particular number. It wasn't like there had to be a certain amount. It was when people who were born were ready. Your parents, they groomed you for the priestesshood. They wanted, your mother was very spiritual. She wasn't a priestess herself. Well, she couldn't have. She was married and she had a child. You were an only child at that time, and you were groomed for the priestesshood. As you got a little older, your mother understood that she would be losing you, so they had another child. It was common to only have one child in that era. So then you went into the priestesshood as a teen, a young teen, around 13, 14. And because you were groomed for this by your mother, it was an easy transition for you. So you just flowed into this priestesshood and adopted it as if it had been yours forever. It was, I'm getting holding space. It was an easy time of life for you, even though there was chaos around, but your job was to actually be the calm amongst the chaos, because people were looking to the priestesses for that inner security, that inner, they needed to know that it was going to be all right. So you could give them that security, that inner security. Even if it wasn't outer security, it was inner security. And they needed that, because when people have faith, they have power in their lives. When you have faith in, wasn't even a future, but when you have faith in what's happening around you now, you have power. You've taken back your power. So in essence, the priestesses were actually helping people to take back their own power. And that was why they were holding space. But it was more than that. They would actually talk to them and encourage them to actually reclaim their power, but they didn't have to be afraid of what was going on, because there was a lot of turmoil at that time, uncertainty. They were starting to think that there was something going on that wasn't good, because crops were failing and they were having plagues. Not as in illness plagues, plagues of things like locusts, things like that. And so they started to feel that maybe there was something going on. After these thousands of years, they'd had a peace and tranquility, and it was the beginning of a tumultuous time in Lyra. Not the whole of Lyra, this was one star in Lyra. It was a fairly big one, and this affected many Lyrans outside of your system as well. Okay, so what happened there? So that was the relationship part of it. There was never going to be a love connection to a man in that relationship, because it wasn't even in your processes. It wasn't even in your thinking. This was never a part of your psyche. You died a peaceful death in that lifetime. You didn't leave Lyra, you died a peaceful death. You weren't there through the destruction of Lyra. When you incarnated, okay, the red's still there, but they're taking me blue now. When you incarnated in Arcturus, so you then became an Arcturian. So some from Lyra went from Lyra to Arcturus in one lifetime. You didn't. You finished that lifetime in Lyra and then took on another lifetime as an Arcturian. You had a lifetime there that was, I'm looking at relationships. So it was, usually when I get a hierarchy, I just get different heights. This is in the middle, so it's not like you were the highest in Arcturus, or you weren't the lowest. You were in the middle. So you had some responsibility in Arcturus, but not ultimate responsibility. They had different levels based on their consciousness. So not on hierarchy, it was based on consciousness. Often I get the hierarchy so that I'll understand it, not because of where it is in Arcturus at the time. So there was no I'm better than you type of thing, but your experience there was, it's very healing place, Arcturus, but there was healing. They did a lot of work with other planets. And so you had chosen, because these were chosen vocations. These were life journeys and life vocations, but you'd chosen this one, and you'd chosen to be in a situation where you had responsibility, and that was taking your time. You had family around you, but you chose not to have your own family. So you were involved with nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters. You had quite a big family support around you. You did a lot of traveling, though. You went out on Arcturian starships and helped other star systems and planets to raise their vibration, evolve more. And so this was, and you weren't one of the ones who actually drove the starship or anything. You were the one one of the Arcturians on the ship who actually connected with other star systems and other planets directly. And directly as in one-on-one being on that planet. Most were more friendly than what Earth is, and so they invited the Arcturians in because the Arcturians are a fairly advanced civilization. So most planets and star systems know that they can get a lot from the Arcturians. This was Arcturus. This was a small star system you were from within the Arcturian galaxy. Well, it's not a galaxy, but with the they had different planets there, and you were from a smaller one. It started with a P. Can't get the name. So, so that was Arcturus. So from there, you would travel a lot, and therefore you affected a lot of people in that way because you would go to other planets and star systems, and on that planet there, you would have, I can see you with a gathering, a group around you, and you would be talking to them about the same as you did as a priestess, taking their power back and how they can stand in their own power and individuality. Not that most star systems were at war, but some had been through wars and therefore were coming out the other side. And because a lot of people on those star systems were born during war eras, they didn't know what to teach the younger generation so as not to repeat the patterns. So the Arcturians would come on and basically give them a new way of thinking, more than a new perspective. This was a new lineage. They were creating a new platform on which these planets and star systems could grow their young. So you would have quite large gatherings there, and you really loved that. So family for you wasn't on the agenda because you had a lot of people that you affected, and rather than just one, you weren't a homebody. You did a lot of traveling, and that was your choice. This is a vocation that you chose, and that's why you loved it. You died peacefully in that one and very satisfied. You had affected a lot of people in a positive way, and you can't ask for more than that. So then we go to a Syrian. So this is where I was seeing the red before. So this Syrian, so this is interesting because to me, if I get red, it's Syrian, and yet it has woven through it, it has mauves and yellows. And so what star system is this? Okay. So I'm getting that we have different levels of, on Earth we understand that there's a star system and a galaxy and a universe, but in fact I've been shown different levels of that, not as in hierarchy levels, but in different, some people call them dimensions, but they're more layers of star systems. So this is Sirius, but this is a different layer of Sirius, and that's why it has the mauve and the yellow through it, not just the red. So this is a layer of Sirius that you incarnated on. So this is Sirius has a lot of holds a lot of the well, the Akashic records are on Sirius. So it holds a lot of the libraries and does a lot of teaching on Sirius. a lot of the universities are on Sirius. So the Syrians tend to be a fairly serious type of people, because maybe that's where the name comes from. So what I want to get to is the layer. The layer that you're on is like, it's like there are, on top of the planet, it's like there's through the atmosphere, there's a lot of northern lights. It's very the lights are quite spectacular. They're happening all the time. You have two suns, and that's why these northern lights are just happening all the time. They're just in greens and reds and yellows and mauves, and it's just, there's no blue in there, but there's all the other colors. They're just beautiful, and they're just happening all the time. And because of this, people have built their facilities underground. So most people, they live below the ground. Above the ground is safe. There's nothing wrong with the atmosphere there. It's just that these lights are going all the time. Now these, the significance of these lights is that they have an effect on people. So they can either, they can help you to feel much better and to vitalize you, to give you energy. But if you have too much of them, it will diminish your energy. It's like eating too much sugar. If you eat a little bit of it, it gives you energy. If you eat too much of it, you'll just feel yuck. So these are the advantage of these lights. Now, people are invited from other planets to come and experience these lights, because it does vitalize them. It's like it renews people. It's like a pool of light, but this one, you're standing on the planet, or people have landed on the planet, and they're experiencing that, the vitality, just by standing on the planet. The energy that comes down from these lights is immense. But then after a while, they either leave because that's the experience they're having, or you live underground. Now, having said underground, it's not a dark place to live underground. It's actually quite light. There are lots of portals that are created, and light comes through all of these. So it's not like as a race you've gone underground and now you're all pale and sickly. It's not like that at all. This is a thriving community underground. It's just that these lights here are just so vibrant and energetic, and it just feels amazing. So these lights are wonderful. Now, what do you have to do with this? You are the person who actually invited these planets and star systems and people from other races to come and become energized by these. Okay, and you met somebody. Why this is significant is that you met somebody from another star system, and you had a relationship with him, but it didn't last, because he had an important job and he had to go back to his star system. And your job here was important because it was helping to revitalize, like reseeding planets and star systems. So yours was important too. So that was a heartbreak there for both of you, because you put your job, so to speak, but it was your vocation, above your personal needs. But you were always going to do that. That was the important, that you felt that was the important thing to do. Nobody blamed you for it. Nobody would have judged you. There was no judgment, no blame anyway. But this was something you chose. If you had have chosen to leave, nobody would have judged you for that. but you felt that this was the important thing to do. He had an important job as well, and therefore he left. Occasionally you would see him, but it was too painful that way, because you would see him for a little while and then he'd be gone. And so you actually closed off that part of you that felt that deep connection to another. And when you do that, you close off that deep connection to those around you as well. So you started to feel a little more sad, even though these lights were revitalizing, and that's what you were helping other people to experience. You were feeling that, starting to feel that sadness. And you stayed out in the lights a little more, and as you stayed out in the lights a little more, you then started to feel a little more diminished within. Okay, so what I need to go to now is to say that, but when you actually passed on, when you died, that person, you were one with them again. They were part of your soul group. And so it's not like you were parted from them forever. Love never dies. And so you actually reunited with them. And what I'm getting is that you will always recognize that love through every lifetimes. So it can be a touch, sometimes it's holding a hand, sometimes it's a hug, sometimes it's a look, and you will recognize that love through whatever lifetime you're in, because it doesn't come from the stars or from a lifetime, it comes from non-physical. And non-physical is really the overarching authority in this area. So you're never ever apart from love. So to recognize them, there will be a sign that you will know. It's like, oh, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, and they'll feel the same. It's like, it's a recognizing. Sometimes through lifetimes, though, it can take a little while, because you both need to get to that place of recognition. Okay, where are we going now? I'm getting that we don't need to go anywhere else, that this is all we need to do for what you've asked for. And so okay, so I am getting that lifetime yellow, so that was around you've had Pleiadian lifetimes, you've had a lot of different lifetimes around the place. Rather than being significant, they were lifetimes where you were happy, had children, were in love, and so relationships aren't a problem for you. Just that these ones we went into were chosen to show you why you didn't have a relationship of significance in that lifetime. But you have had other lifetimes around where these were interplanetary, often interplanetary relationships, and you settled on one planet. Interplanetary relationships, and so you have mingled your starseed DNA. And therefore there's nothing that you need to learn. Only rather than needing to, you don't need to learn anything. You only need to recognize when it comes, and you'll do that. So if they're the person for you, then you'll know by the touch, feel, there'll be a sign for you to recognize, because That's the thread of all of your relationships. There's a sign. Relationships or love is universal, and so it carries through lifetimes. So, but they don't want you to get hung up on being the person. All relationships are important, and they help you to grow and expand and become more. And sometimes one relationship takes you to another relationship, takes you to the relationship that you were looking for. So they're saying go with the signs. The signs will be there for you. So if you're looking for a lesson, that is your lesson, is to be aware enough to recognize that this is the right person, or go for the ride. Because it doesn't have to be a person forever. It only has to be somebody that you can share your journey with.